The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Thank you for being here. Did I get the pronunciation right?
Yes, you got it.
Oh, perfect. For those that don't know, before this started, I had to go over this with her, make sure I practice, because I always want to make sure when people hear your name, they remember, they're like, oh yeah, she's the one who helped me. All right.
Oh, thank
Now,
you.
Yashmit, um you've been in the real estate industry for a little over 3 years now.
Yes.
But I'm curious to know how it all started because I think what a lot of people, some people don't understand when we talk about someone's background, when we get to uncover where they came from, some people are like, wait, well, why is he sharing this? But I believe it can always help someone else that's looking to transition into real estate because you can transition from any career because there's always a skill that that translates into real estate. And I believe sharing your story helps motivate the next person, helps the next person know, hey, she went through these challenges, she overcame these challenges, then I guess I can do it as well. So we'd love to hear your story. All right. How did you get into real estate? And what were you doing before that?
Sure. So let me take you down my real estate inspiration journey. I was born in Queens, New York, but I grew up in Tallahassee, which is like the North Panhandle of Florida. I
Mhm,
went to school there, graduated from high school there, May of 2010, some class of 2010. 2 months later, I moved to Miami to go to college. I wanted to get out of the home state or the home city that you live in and try something new. So once I got settled in Miami, I started working at a clothing store. The manager at the store at that time, his brother had an insurance agency, so he kind of recruited me to go interview with his brother's agency. So I interviewed, got hired. So for the next 3 years, I was a licensed insurance agent at State Farm. And then during that time, I was going to college to become a pharmacist. So I was like, why not? I could work as an insurance agent, make commission on top of the hourly wage, and then go to school.
mhm,
So I did that right out of high school. So I was thrown into sales right out of high school. I did that for 3 years. In 2014, my husband got transferred to Orlando. So
mhm,
we moved here to Orlando. And my insurance job obviously transferred here too, because State Farm's all over the country. So I kept the job while I was going to school because why not? I was making good money and was top seller in the office. And at the same time, I could go to school. A couple years later, I felt like I needed to transition my career to what I was going to school for, which was pharmacy.
mhm,
So I applied at Walgreens at the corporate office here in Orlando, and I got the job as a pharmacy tech. I did that for the next 7 years. And in January of 2020, when right before COVID started, I had my daughter. We had our first child, and then COVID started in around March. So we got transitioned to work from home. So I was working from home with a newborn, and I kind of loved it because I was got to be home with my child and then still be able to work. And then my husband had lost his job at that time for a couple months because of COVID. And then July of 2022, I have a friend come over home on a weekend. It was a random weekend. Her son had an event here in Orlando. So
mhm,
she was staying at my house and she had just got her real estate license and she was
mhm,
telling me how it is. And I was like, tell me more. She's like, oh, you can easily make 10 grand a year. And I was like, really?
mhm,
And I was excited because I wanted to spend more time with my daughter. And I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom also for a couple years until she went back to school. So I was like, tell me more. And she's like, well, you can easily make 10 grand. You could probably
mhm,
sell one house a year and you can make 10 grand. And I was like, okay. So I was doing the math in my head. I'm like, My husband works full time, and if I want to be a stay-at-home mom, that's like $800 a month for 12 months if you divide the 10 grand. And I was like, I can easily help my husband pay the bills and be at home with my daughter. So I was like, sure, what do I have to do? And she's like, just take the course, sign up for the online course, pass it, and then you can go take the state exam. And then at the same time that year, me and my husband wanted to buy a house. So I spoke to a lender as well. So we were doing that in the background. And I passed the exam. I started studying August of 2022. And I studied for 7 months straight because I looked up the stats and it was like 50% of people pass on the first try.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't be that part of that stat. I need to pass on the first try. So I studied for 7 months straight. I read the textbook front to back 3 times. First time I read it, I didn't understand anything. I was like, what is this broker? What is a brokerage? What are these laws? And then I read it again. I was like, okay, now I get 50% of the material. I understood it. I was highlighting, taking notes. I love highlighting color stuff, color code everything. And then the third time I got it, I read the book again and I understood everything. I took the exam March of 2023 and I passed it on the first try.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, in June, I quit my pharmacy job because I was like, I can make 10 grand a year. I can help my husband for a couple of years, pay a little bit of the bills, have extra money, and then I could be with my daughter. So I quit my job in June or July of 2023 at pharmacy, and I went full-time real estate. And we bought our first house that same year in October. And next week will be my third year.
Wow. Wow. Now, looking back at your journey, um, you've always been in sales, right? You've
Yes.
always gone to understand how it happens, the psychology of sales. What are some of the things that you learned in your previous role that gave you a good or like a boost in real estate?
Yes, so I learned while I was at insurance, we did cold calling and I hated it with a passion. My boss would get all of us in the conference room and take turns on cold calling, and I hated
Mm.
it. It used
Yeah.
to, I hated passionately, I hated it so much. But that helped. I look back and I think about it, I'm like, wow, he set me up
Mm.
for my future position here in real estate or my future career.
Mm.
And I learned communication. I learned sales, like how people buy with emotions.
Mm.
So if I could get them in insurance, obviously it's about price usually. So if I could get them a lower price, add some discounts here and there, which we did, but depending on what type of policy they had, they would switch. And then they always like customer service. I give customer service to others like how I want to be given. I
Mm.
like to be I like my customer service people to be upfront, honest. I don't like the BS. I want just tell me how it is and then
Mm.
give me the pros and cons and then I'll make the decision.
Mhm. Now, you were approached by your friend. She told you you can make 10 grand a year,
Mm-hmm.
right? For those listening, thinking that's what she's been making, I'm sorry, it's far from that.
Yeah.
How did you later go from that being the goal to just make enough to help your husband to really falling in love with it and making well over that a year?
I loved the flexibility.
Hmm.
Of course, a lot of us get into real estate because we have that freedom of schedule, but I didn't know at that time how much time consuming it can be. But it's all about balancing. So I loved going back to the flexibility. I got to be with my daughter more. I got to spend time with my husband more. I got to make my own schedule. I didn't have to clock in. That 9 to 5 thing for seven, even more, because even insurance was 9 to 5. It was hard. When you're a mom, you understand that you can't miss. Children will only be a year old, 2 year old for a certain time. And then, I didn't want to miss out on that. I could do real estate down the road, but I won't get back toddler stage, the newborn stage. I'm not going to get that back if I miss out on that. And and it's not easy. I'm not going to say it's easy, but the flexibility and the income that I could make, there's like no end to income. At
Mm,
9 to 5, there's a limit. You can't go certain hours. You can't make more than this. There's a cap on your income, but in real estate, there is no cap. And then also, I would say at a corporate job or like a 9 to 5, there's no way to grow sometimes in the company. I try so hard to grow in those 7 years from a pharmacy tech maybe to a supervisor or to a lead, and they just keep you in that little cubicle. And
mm,
I want to grow. I know I have the potential to grow, and that's what real estate gave me. I can grow
mm,
as much as I want. I can do so many other things. I don't have to just be a realtor. I can still do a 9 to 5 on the side if I want to. So I think those combined is amazing. The
yeah.
flexibility, the income is unlimited. You can make your own schedule, stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think that's what draws most people into real estate, right? You
Yes,
can work in mostly any career, and the growth doesn't match, what you can achieve within real estate. Because if we're looking at you being in the industry for 3 years and what you've been able to achieve, the records that you've been able to break, your own records that you've broken, you will not find that kind of growth in most 9 to 5 jobs, right? For
correct.
you to actually break through a certain threshold of certain, compensation or salary, you have to be there for years. But with real estate, the more you put in, the more you get out. So I think that's really amazing for those considering it. I mean, trust me, take a
Yes,
chance on real estate. Now, earlier on, I said you're bilingual. I have to correct myself. You're multilingual, right? You speak
yes,
4 languages. How?
yes.
I struggle with just one language at times. How did you get there, and how has it helped you within real estate to connect with your clients as well?
Sure. I speak 4 languages, English, of course.
Mm,
My parents are traditional from India. They were born there and then they, migrated here to the US. And my mom always spoke the Punjabi language, which is the language that they speak in India,
mhm,
from the area that they're from. They always spoke with us when we were little, with me and my sisters, at home. No English was allowed to be spoken because then they said that we wouldn't learn their native language. We would learn English, obviously, in school because everything's in English. So they speak Punjabi, which is what we learn, and then Hindi is like the national language or part of the other languages that is kind of like a dialect
mhm,
kind of form. So I speak Hindi and Punjabi, and then Spanish I learned since I was like 13. I was always around Hispanic people. My husband is Hispanic, so of course I'm going to talk to him in Spanish. And that has helped me get more clientele because I grew up in Tallahassee. I
mhm,
have a lot of Spanish speaking friends, and then my husband's side is always wanting to purchase homes. So that's where I get a lot of different culture also involved. And it's fun. I love it. I get to communicate with different people and I get to understand every culture's the way of how they communicate.
mhm. Yeah, and I think a lot of people underestimate that, right? Especially like before you get into real estate, you don't realize how being able to connect with a person in their own language, right, in their
Mhm.
own tongue gives you an advantage, right? Because if I speak Spanish and well, I'm expecting my realtor to come through with English. I mean, then Spanish, I'm like, wait, you speak Spanish? And you have deeper conversations. You get to know exactly where they're coming from, where they're going. And it also in turn help to service them a lot better. Now, I'm quite curious, going into real estate, right? When a lot of people get into it, or considering getting into it before, like in your case, your friend told you, hey, you can easily make 10 grand a year. And you're like, oh, easily make, especially keyword easily. And then you're like, okay, let me get into it. And
Yeah.
then once you get into it, you realize, oh, might not be that easy, but especially, I mean, in your case, you had certain skills that translated well into real estate. But were there any other challenges that you faced in your first year? And if so, like what were those challenges and how did you overcome them?
Of course. When you start, I see real estate as a business. So any business that you start, you have challenges. So the first part was getting consistent income is really hard in real estate.
Mhm,
But, and then that can also like unmotivate you. I was very, like the first year, I was very like, I need consistent income to come in. But then people told me, you got to keep going. You got to build your business. You got to build your like kind of portfolio, build your systems,
mhm,
see what works for you, do social media, do cold calling, go out and network, do open houses. But I honestly hate open houses. I'll do them for my listings, but I don't like to do them.
mhm,
But so that was hard in the beginning, but then I kept going. I never stopped. There were times when you're not making anything. There's like 2, 3 months that go by and you're not making anything. But I did say that I was going to be consistent because I remember in insurance, that's what I was. I
mhm,
was always getting clients calling referrals. So I was big on referrals. I know how to nurture a client. That
mhm,
way they give me referrals because I did that in insurance. Insurance is not, cold calling works in insurance, but it doesn't usually work because people don't want to give out their information over the phone as easily as they would with real estate. Real estate is just houses on the market, but
mhm,
insurance is not like that. So I know how to do that. So I kept going. I kept going. You got to keep going. You got to be consistent. Even the days that you want to cry and you're like, I'm not making anything, you
mhm,
got to keep going. And that's something that I had a challenge with in the beginning, but I got over it. I'm seeing the results are paying off now.
mhm,
Another thing is your mindset. It's
mhm,
very easy to be negative in real estate or any business because you're like, maybe I'm not doing something right. I'm not getting clients back to back. And you're not going to get it your first year unless, I don't know, you have some miracle going on or
mhm,
somebody just throws clients at you. It's impossible.
mhm,
But you
yeah,
got to be very positive and keep going. Even the days that you don't want to feel like you want to work, you gotta get up and work.
yeah. So I hope you guys are taking notes, right? Even the days that you feel like not working, feel like, yep, you know
Yeah.
what, today I'm not doing it. Like, wake up, get through that, and you'll definitely be successful. Now, looking back, now, if you could go back to when you first got started in real estate, what would you do different if you would do anything different?
Um, I don't think I would do anything differently because I have enjoyed how I started.
Hmm.
I my whole goal was to have spend more time with my daughter, spend more time with my husband. That way I don't have to clock in. So
Hmm.
I feel like I wouldn't do anything different. Now I would, let's see. I think I wouldn't do anything different. I really like the way I started out and I started from the bottom. I grew everything organically. I
Hmm.
don't pay for leads. I don't do ads. So I think I'm happy with how I started out.
I like that. I like it. Now, you are in Central Florida. Some would say it's a competitive market. And as an agent, how do you stand out from the competition? Because Central Florida has a lot of it, but you've been able
Mhm.
to build something for yourself, and like you said, organically. How have you been able to stand out from the competition and to ensure that you communicate the value that you bring to your clients?
Of course. So I am very big on details. So I do content and I make sure it looks as perfect as it can be, even though it doesn't have to be, because they just, all of us get taught to just throw content out there. I love details. So what I do differently is I have some props here. Um, so what I did my second year was I did a magazine.
Wow.
for Christmas. I sent it out to my clients. It has like recipes and stuff like that. And I think that's different. So
Yeah.
people love it when I give it out to them. It has like Christmas stuff
Oh, wow.
and here's some decor. HGTV stuff's in here. Real estate
Nice.
market shifts, and then it has my information. So I
And
mailed
you
this
did that.
out.
You did that in the second year.
Yes.
Oh
So
man.
every time I got paid a commission, I would save like $100 and I would use that towards marketing,
Mm,
maybe at the end of the year. And then last year a I sent out a little gift every year I do something different. So last year I sent out a little gift to my clients. I also do thank you cards to
wow.
the showings that I have for my buyers.
Mm,
Because think about it, when you are walking into a seller's home and they give
mm,
you access for the buyer to see their home, it's weird. It's because
mm,
we don't want strangers in our house, right?
yeah.
So I always say thank you for letting us see your property or letting me show your property to my buyers, and I leave my card because sometimes agents want us to leave the card. So I do that, and this is based on my brand. I have other colors. They're like neutral, light colors, and then this one is the blue one. So I
Mhm.
do stuff like that, and then I just listen to my clients. I don't say anything. I listen to them and I let them share their side of the story because
Mm,
I could talk all day, but I want to know why they want to buy or sell and
mm,
how I can solve their problem. And that's what I came up with this year was a motto that I have on my social media is I solve your real estate problem because even if you're buying a house,
mm.
I'm solving your problem because you don't want to rent anymore.
Yeah.
So to me, every transaction or every client that I speak to has an issue with the home. Either they're buying or they're selling. For example, I have a client who wants to downsize. They don't want a lot of space anymore because unfortunately their family member passed away. So that's a problem for them. They want to
Yeah.
downsize. So I'm going to help them find a smaller home. Or if they want to upsize, they want more space, they have four children, that's a problem that they want me to solve as a professional. So I listen to them and I tell them that, hey, I'm going to solve your problem. I'm going to give you the pros and cons and money will follow. A lot of realtors just want to check. I don't look at it like that. I do a lot of referrals and I'm happy to pay the referral fee if the agent wants me to help the client. So I'm very detail oriented. I go the extra mile, over communicate. I have $1 million client that I got. I'm closing with them next week.
Wow.
And even they wanted me to hold their hand, the
Mm,
couple, because even though they've bought a house, they still were asking me questions like stuff that you would already know,
mm,
but they still wanted me to hold their hand. So I hold my client's hand as
mm,
if I was about to buy the house because that's how I wished because I bought my own house. Me and my husband, like I helped find our own home because I had interviewed three different agents. Nobody wanted to help me because I
mm.
didn't have the pre-approval. They just ghosted me. And I'm like, I can just do this myself.
Yeah.
So that's how I help other clients as if I had my own, I wish somebody would have helped me that way.
Man. One thing that I've realized, right, is at times like people that are successful in this industry are people that value um I would say helping out their clients, servicing their clients, and adding value to their
Mhm.
clients. They don't really consider the commission. They're not motivated by that. They're motivated by how can I solve your problem? And it's a thing that I've been saying it so many times in the show. I think I've been doing this for so long that I recently clocked that I think everyone's just saying the same thing. What's going on? Why are they all saying this? All right. Who's out here, giving each other like notes on what to say? But I realize that's what sets the good, great, even bad realtors apart. That mindset of wanting to
Yeah.
help out someone. Now, I want to know from you if you could give advice to someone starting out in real estate or someone considering getting into real estate right now, what would it be?
Go for it. Don't think that you're gonna learn everything in one day because you're not. Even realtors that I've worked with are like 35 years in the business, they still are learning something new. The
Mm,
market's always changing. We're not gonna have a steady market forever. So just go out there, get your license, study hard, try to aim for passing it the first time because you're just wasting time. You're wasting time and money if you're not dedicated to what you want to do. Um, and then do a little bit of everything. Don't just stay stuck on cold calling or don't just stay stuck on open houses because I see a lot of that happening where they just focus on one thing and they don't know what works because they're just starting out.
mm,
I threw myself out there. When I started, I used even did rentals. A lot of agents don't like to do rentals.
mm,
And I actually helped a client my first year get a rental and they bought a house last year and I had two buyers that way because I helped them find a home to rent in my first year. So try for a couple years, do a little bit of everything and see what works. Whatever starts working for you, then just, leave the stuff that doesn't work. That way you have your business growing and you know what actually works for you, for your business, and what brings in that income.
I like that. So you heard that, ladies and gentlemen. Try out everything, right?
Yes.
At times you never know what's your niche until you actually, you know, dive into everything. And that's the only way to find out. Now, Yashmit, before we close off, I'm curious. Where to from here? Because it seems like you started off just wanting to help your husband and you've fallen in love with this. My question to you now is where to from here? What's next from you and what are your goals for this year and beyond?
This year, I would love for us, me and my husband, to buy our first investment property. That's
Mhm,
our goal. And then maybe every couple years buy some more because I want to invest in real estate because there's nothing better than real estate to invest in. And I don't know, maybe the future I would have a team. I love the teaching part of it because I feel like I wish I had that when I first started. I've had to learn on my own. I am on a national team. It's called the Hype Squad, and she's my sponsor with EXP. Her name is Jennifer Granjon.
mhm,
And I had actually saw a TikTok of hers before I even joined EXP, and I was like, I'm going to interview with her. And then
mhm,
I had also interviewed with another brokerage, but I didn't like that because I didn't want to come in the office. EXP is a virtual brokerage. I
mhm,
was like, yes, I want to do this from home. So I'm on her national team and we're all about videos. So
mhm,
we do video content, video text messages, video everything. And then we have a marketing director that keeps everything in check, especially how we think, because psychology plays a big role in
mhm,
running a business, especially in real estate. So I would like maybe I could have a team and maybe 5 years down the road. Not yet though, because I don't feel like I'm ready.
mhm.
But for sure, our couple investment properties coming up in the future.
I know. So we wish you all the best. And I know definitely you have what it takes to lead the team. Looking at your work, looking at the reviews from your clients, man, people really love working with you. And if you someone out there, you find yourself in Central Florida, you're looking to buy or sell a home. Look, I'm telling you right now. Right? Yashmeet has you covered. All right. If you're looking for the best service, take it from me. She's going to take good care of you. And you're wondering, Tim, yes, I hear you. I made that decision in the first half of this podcast. I wanted to reach out to her. Okay, don't worry, I got you. All right. Her details will be in the description. All right. Her website, social media. Go on and follow her on her socials as well, because if you're looking to buy or sell. I mean, look, you might see something that you like if you're looking to buy a property, right? So go and follow her, reach out to her. Her details will be in the description, and trust me, she will take good care of you. And hey, if you get the best service, tell her Tim sent you. All right. Now, Yashmi, thank you so much. It has been an amazing episode. We really enjoyed having you here. We really enjoyed hearing your story. I think it's a story that a lot of women can relate to, a lot of moms can relate to, but it's also one that inspires a lot of people as well. I'm inspired. One thing I'm thinking of right now is adding a couple languages, in the vault. So hey, I come prepared. But thank you so much for being an inspiration. I think you being here and sharing your story is definitely going to uplift the next person. It's definitely going to let the next person know it can be done. Like if you're a dude out there and you say you want to get into real estate, think about it. This is a mom who has to care to a family and her child. Then if she can do it, you can do it. And if you're a mom who also wants to get into real estate, she just showed you it can be done, right? So you have the blueprint. You can also go out and do it for yourself as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an amazing episode with your host, Timothy Kaitano, and the amazing superwoman in real estate, Yashmin Gutierrez. Oof, you know what?
Gutierrez.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Thank you for that. And thank you so much for being an amazing guest. Ladies and gentlemen, if you got this far, like, share, subscribe, share this with your friends, your social circle, because they'll love you forever. It has been your host, Timothy Kaitano. Until we meet again next time. Peace.